And we're just going to go on and make it brown, a shiny brown. So part of it we want to try to keep alive. Part of it we don't care if it stays alive. And so we're going to base it like this. And then we're going to set our plants in first. And they will go in, take any dead leaves off. We're just going to leave them in the pot because if you want to replace them, they're easier to pull it out, pot and all, and not have to rework your arrangement. So if one plant dies, not a problem. You just lift the entire container out, and then you don't have to change out everything. So we're going to balance it out with green and green on either end, and then I'm going to put this in the middle so that the fern, you could use a bigger fern, but I think that we have plenty of what we need here. And depending on if it's going on a mantle, then you would face it in one direction. If it's going on a centerpiece of a table, then it's balanced all the way around. So we're just going to start placing some of our magnolia. And again, this is just what can be gotten from your own property or from a neighbor who's kind enough to share. And the pods are especially nice if you are lucky enough to have those. So we're going to cut off that little one. And if it's down in wet oasis, it will last longer. Filling in some of our little holes. And the oasis is going to help hold it up where it does not fall down inside the container, because we want it resting on the top. So we've just got some basic wire you can buy it at any craft supply house. We're going to take wire cutters and cut it in half. And then what you want to take is you want to take 1/2 of the piece of wire and bend it in half, and then you're going to attach the moss to the foam or the container so that it doesn't fall out when it dries out, and that just secures in place the moss so that you don't lose any of it. Or we're doing the centerpiece so that it has a long shelf life and we don't have to redo it. This is a quasi-living arrangement. And then these are just pieces of wood that can be picked up in a forest area that is, I think, intriguing. And the bug worms from the bark. We spray all of our bark down with a pesticide to be sure that no spiders or bugs like that get in. So you want to be sure and treat, if you're collecting wood from an outdoor source, you want to be sure that you spray it down for insects, because you could be inviting insects to your table, which you do not want insects at the party. So you have to use precaution. And now we're going to try to find a good spot for our prize bird nest. And so we're going to tuck him in right there, and then we will flank it with that piece of wood. So I think right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that one leaf off because we want our bird nest to show. So the bird nest is important to me. This is what I found in my mother brought this to me from her house. So I'm going to hold that there, and I'm going to let it dry naturally before I try to use it. So we've got to let that dry.
And did you have to do anything special to the mushrooms to...
No.
Nope.
Those are naturally dried. And these are mushrooms that a friend brought to me, and those came from a farm in Lexington. And she lives on a horse farm. So those, we are going to use our same little wire, and I'm going to put them on the sides where they'll show up. But this is actually mushrooms from a tree on a horse farm. And it was a down log on the property. Sticks out. And we collect Thanksgiving Day what it is we're going to make our centerpiece out of for that holiday. And so we collect on our hike, and then I make it with the children and grandchildren that are present, and we make our own centerpiece for that day's celebration from what we find in the woods.